got Craig David, the brand ambassador for Audi Flatirons. Marcel Van Gardener. Garderen. Sorry.
That's all right.
And Pete LUCKE from the Rocky Mountain Cancer Team. And I want to ask Craig why this relationship with this team is so important to the Audi Flatiron mission in general.
Sure, I think the big thing, Bill, is when we look at what are our values, like what are our philosophies, those not only do they happen in the store and are they important in the store, they're important when we're, carrying out the rest of our day, right? And I think that's a lot of the synergy and the like-mindedness of the team is to Pete's point, integrity is a big piece of it, and we look at relationship and authenticity, because when it comes down to it, that's what we want to be known for. And so, being out on the ride with the guys to, cleaning up the side of the road to, mentoring people for one of the charity rides. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to live that out, right? It's not, we just try not to talk about it, but we try to do it. I think that's the connection with the team is myself and 25 other guys get to do it together.
Seems to line up with what they've talked about with the team, with your mission.
Right.
It's not a coincidence.
No.
Absolutely, and it's kind of ironic how parallel they run. Whether it's two wheels or four, there's so many ways to integrate and accomplish similar tasks in very different ways. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
For a higher degree of connecting, right? How do we connect with them? What are we telling them, and what are we broadcasting? The lifestyle, the fitness, but again, going back to some of these key elements of what people really can connect with and gravitate to.
I think people ask the question, well, how does this sell more cars? Right? But that's not
right.
And that's ultimately the goal, I guess. But not really. I mean, it's an interesting, subtle thing that creates a lot of relationships. We talked earlier about all the relationships that we all have that we probably didn't know we had.
Mm-hmm.
And then how does that, even at some point, translate to the transaction?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that because, cars are the business. And it's not immediate, but we're giving people a deeper look into who we are via the team. And that's really, it's not typical of say the industry and perhaps even other sponsors and brands, but we're able to create a link with people that might not think of us otherwise.
Right.
And that's kind of the cool part. And when you see the lifestyle piece of it, on the road, on the track, on the mountain, on the race course, all of a sudden we start to connect with those values and kind of those those lifestyle pieces that really matter.
How about you guys, when you're considering sponsors? There's probably sponsors that could come to you and say, we'll give you X dollars, but they would not even come close to fitting your personalities, your mission.
Yeah.
So how do you make that choice?
It comes down to values, and that's really the single most important word that I can use to describe what we're looking for in sponsors. I'm not really interested in finding new sponsors every year because it's really a lot of work. I'd rather build on the relationship that we have with our current sponsor and just make those stronger and stronger and stronger. That is really our goal.
For me, when I look at the bread and butter of a relationship of a sponsor team and the sponsor. So for me, with Boulder Audi, one of the first conversations I had with Craig was, I didn't know there was an Audi dealer in Boulder. I'm like, where is that? So for me, it was very simple of what we can do for this sponsor is get more exposure to their brand in the cycling community, whether it's at races or, as I mentioned, training on the roads around Boulder County and the Denver metro area. So that was just like the bread and butter of what we can do for them. But when you dig deeper and knowing Craig, besides the sponsoring relationship-wise, but knowing Craig from 1.0 was that, hey, we're a team that he can rely on to help him with some of the mission and vision that Audi Boulder Flatirons has in the community. We wanted to help Craig with like charity rides, and his team, Team Audi, that was going to do weekly practice sessions, training sessions, and we would show up to help mentor those riders on training, nutrition, etc., so they could be successful in their charity ride. It's not a race, but this was something very important to Craig, and it's like, all right, give and take. It has nothing to do with racing. It has nothing to do with anything for our team. It was about us as friends, as that sponsor, team relationship that we can give to them to help them out.